I'm Alice Aspen March, and I'm the creator and owner of The Attention Factor. We're in a crisis in this country, in this world actually, where people's need for attention is not being met. And they're acting out all over the place for it in very self-destructive ways. And it really doesn't matter how old you are, or how young, or how rich, or how poor, or how fat, or how thin. We all need attention. So the Attention Factor that I've created is a body of work which gives tools to teach people how to get the exact kind of attention they need and want, and why so many people are really walking around in pain, emotional pain, physical pain, and not knowing why. When you recognize what your needs are for attention, then perhaps for the first time, you realize that other people have needs. And they may not be the same as yours, which is an important piece of understanding. And you look at people differently, and it really keeps you in the present. It slows you down when you realize that people need to be listened to, and they need to be responded to. And it makes you more secure in your dealings with everybody and more empowered. And of course, you are also empowering the other person. Attention is a mainstream word. We see it and hear it every day. I count the number of times I see it in the newspaper. But I redefined it and made it into a different paradigm so that the work that I do changes people's lives because they look at everything in their life differently. People are becoming aware that it affects the bottom line. If your employees are treated as though they are part of the business, if it's a transparent business, if there's not a lot of secrets withheld in the community, if people feel they have a stake in their environment, they will work better, and the bottom line goes up. But they're not necessarily talking about attention, but that's what it is. So attention is necessary in every environment. It works in the family, it works in relationships, it works in the employee-employer relationships, it works in every corporate workplace. And when you have bad attention, or your employees don't get the kind of attention they need, they act out. They steal, they complain, they whine, they gossip, and in the case of the post office, they go back and shoot up the people. That's where the expression going postal comes from. Call a big meeting of a team or a group of employees and say, I really want our environment to work, and I want to give my employees the kind of attention they need from me. So I want you to drop me a note or come to my office, make an appointment with me, and sit with me, and tell me what kind of attention you need from me or want from me. This is really the essence of good leadership. Be as confident and as wise and as knowledgeable as you can be, and people will get that. They pick that up from you. And to be with a person, when you're with a person, not looking over their head at the next person that you're going to be with, and not looking over here or wherever. Be with that person and enroll that person in what you're doing. Then that person wants to be with you. And listen to what that person is saying. There really isn't enough time in the day to give enough attention to all aspects of our life. But I'll tell you what I tell young parents, because when the phone rings and an entrepreneur picks up the phone, all the children come out of the woodwork. They want to talk. And you've got to turn to that child and recognize his reality. His inner reality is at that time he wants your attention too. So if you say to a child, take time out from the telephone call and say, I know you want my attention right now, but I've got to do this. And when I'm through, I'll come find you. Chances are that he won't need you anymore. He's already busy doing something else. Wives need to be told that. Husbands need to be told that. Adult children need to be told that. And once in a while, we have to tell ourselves now, I need some attention for myself. We have to recognize that attention is our primary need. and we all need it. And if we know that and acknowledge other people's need for that, that helps us all, especially if we're entrepreneurs. The one thing that you have to know before you go anywhere, really, is what do you want out of that meeting or that networking group? And how can you ask for it? You have to be comfortable asking for what you need. And that's a big deal because we never really learned that. So the whole idea of getting the kind of attention you need is to be comfortable asking for it and secure. But you've got to know that before you go. Make sure you don't leave that meeting without asking someone for something. And build a team. I think we as entrepreneurs have to build teams because we just can't do it all. We need a marketer, we need an organizer, we need a bookkeeper, we need people who can work our computer because I'm an entrepreneur and I need to do some writing. And I love to write and I'm passionate about what I'm writing, but I've got a million other things on my schedule and I can't get to it. So it's very important that I know, and you as another entrepreneur, know what kind of needs you need to have met by other people because we just can't do it all. He was the best thing that ever happened to kids during that time because he talked to the inside of them. He was present. He was talking to them. It's 25 years later and people still want to talk about him. I was running a nonprofit organization at that time, focusing awareness on children on television. And so I wrote our public broadcasting station a letter, and they were the head of the buying group. So I said, if you're not going to buy Mr. Rogers, who are you going to buy? And they had nobody else. So they bought him. And the next time he came to town and I was at that station, it was KCET, he said, where is she? Where is she? I got to talk to her. We were buddies after that. And he always knew who had kept him on the air. I had a woman say, you've basically saved my daughter's life. I'm going home and treat my employees differently. I know what's been wrong in my marriage for 23 years. Your work is profound. Everybody should hear you. You've cleared up a mystery in my life. That means that people are resonating with my work. I had to learn all this because I didn't know anything about attention or people's needs or anything. So the fact that I had a challenge in my own family and could solve that challenge and take it out to the rest of the world is very, very magical for me.